The thunder roared like an angry beast, shaking the wooden beams of the small, crumbling cottage. Rain lashed against the windows, but the storm outside was nothing compared to the storm raging inside the heart of young Omar. He stood trembling in the center of the room, his clothes soaked, clutching the hand of his sick mother, Fatima. Across from them stood Malik, the wealthiest merchant in the village, a man whose greed was as vast as his fortune. Malik held a piece of paper in his hand, a deed that bore the thumbprint of Omar's late father, a thumbprint that Malik had obtained through deceit and trickery. "I told you, boy," Malik sneered, his voice dripping with arrogance. "This land belongs to me now. Your father owed me a great debt before he died, a debt you cannot pay. You have 1 hour to collect your rags and leave. If you are still here when the sun sets, I will have the guards throw you into the mud." Omar stepped forward, his small fists clenched. "You lie!" he cried out, his voice cracking with emotion. "My father worked day and night for you. He paid every coin he owed. You are stealing from a widow and an orphan. Do you not fear the judgment of the Creator?" Malik laughed, a cold, cruel sound that echoed off the stone walls. "The Creator helps those who help themselves, boy, and right now the law is on my side. Look at you, weak, poor, and pathetic. Who will believe you over me? I am the pillar of this village. You are nothing but dust beneath my boots." He stepped closer, towering over the boy. "Get out, now." Fatima, weak and coughing, pulled Omar back gently. "Come, my son," she whispered, tears streaming down her pale face. "We cannot fight a storm with a candle. Allah sees everything. His justice may be slow, but it is absolute. Let us go." With heavy hearts, they packed their few belongings, a blanket, a cooking pot, and an old Quran, into a small sack. As they stepped out into the pouring rain, Malik stood on the porch, dry and warm, watching them with a satisfied smirk. He didn't just want their land, he wanted to see them broken. He wanted to prove that money was the only power that mattered in this world. But as Omar looked back one last time, he didn't see a powerful man. He saw a man building a castle on the edge of a cliff, unaware that the ground was already crumbling. The first winter after their eviction was a test of survival that would have broken weaker souls. Omar and his mother found shelter in an abandoned shepherd's hut near the edge of the dark forest, miles away from the village. The wind whistled through the gaps in the walls, and food was scarce. Omar, though only 12 years old, became the man of the house. Every morning before the sun rose, he would walk to the forest to gather firewood. He would then walk 5 miles to the nearest town market to sell the wood for a few copper coins, just enough to buy stale bread and medicine for his mother. His hands, once soft, became calloused and cracked from the cold and hard labor. His shoes wore thin until his feet bled upon the icy stones, yet he never complained. One freezing evening, as Omar was returning home, he found a leather pouch lying in the snow. It was heavy. He opened it and gasped. It was filled with gold coins, more money than he had ever seen in his life. It was enough to buy a new house, warm clothes, and the best doctors for his mother. For a moment, Shaitan whispered in his ear. "Take it," the voice said. "The world took everything from you. Take this back." But then Omar remembered his mother's words. Haram wood will not burn, it will only smoke and blind you. He closed the pouch. He saw fresh horse tracks in the snow and followed them. A mile down the road, he found a traveler frantically searching his saddlebags. When Omar handed the pouch to the traveler, the man was stunned. He was a wealthy silk merchant from the capital. "Boy," the merchant said, looking at Omar's ragged clothes, "you could have kept this. You are starving. Why did you return it?" Omar looked up with eyes clear and bright. "My hunger is temporary, sir, but my honor is forever. I cannot feed my mother with stolen bread." The merchant was moved to tears. He didn't offer Omar money, for he saw the boy's pride. Instead, he offered him something far more valuable, a partnership. "I need honest men," the merchant said. "Gather the finest herbs from this forest, and I will buy them from you at a fair price every month." That night, Omar didn't bring home gold, but he brought home hope. And hope is the seed from which miracles grow. Years passed, and the wheel of destiny turned, slowly but surely. The boy who gathered wood became a young man known throughout the region for his rare herbs and his unshakable honesty. With the silk merchant's help, Omar started his own trade. He didn't just seek wealth, he sought to build. He repaired the shepherd's hut into a beautiful, warm home. He built a well for travelers. He fed the poor, remembering the nights his own stomach had growled in agony. His mother, now healthy and happy, watched her son with pride, thanking Allah for the trial that had forged him into such a noble man. Meanwhile, in the village, Malik's empire was beginning to rot from the inside. His greed had no end. He cheated his partners, oppressed his workers, and hoarded grain during a drought to sell at exorbitant prices. The villagers despised him, but they feared him. However, arrogance is a blinder that hides the cliff until you step off it. One hot summer night, a fire broke out in Malik's great warehouse, the warehouse where he had hoarded all the grain, all the silk, and all his wealth. The villagers, remembering his cruelty, were slow to bring water. By morning, Malik's empire was nothing but a pile of black ash. But the calamity did not end there. Discovering he was bankrupt, his friends turned on him. His creditors took his house, his lands, and even his personal horses. The stress caused him a stroke that left him partially paralyzed, walking with a heavy limp. His family, whom he had taught to value only money, abandoned him when the gold ran out. Malik, the man who once thought he owned the world, was now left with nothing but the clothes on his back and a heart full of bitter regret. He wandered from village to village, begging for scraps, sleeping in barns, feeling the same cold rain that he had once forced upon an orphan. He was learning in the harshest way possible that pride comes before the fall. It was the holy month of Ramadan, and Omar was hosting a great iftar dinner for the poor in the courtyard of his home. Tables were laden with roasted lamb, rice, fresh fruits, and sweet sherbets. Everyone was welcome, travelers, widows, orphans. Omar moved among the guests, serving them himself, his face glowing with kindness. At the gate of the courtyard, a ragged, limping old man hesitated. He was filthy, smelling of the streets, and his face was hidden by a hood. He had heard that this house never turned anyone away. Hunger gnawed at his belly, forcing him to swallow his shame and step inside. Omar saw the old man and immediately rushed to him. "Welcome, uncle," Omar said gently, taking the man's trembling arm. "Please sit here, in the place of honor." He placed a plate of hot food before him. The old man ate voraciously, his hands shaking. As he reached for the water, his hood fell back. The courtyard torches illuminated his face. Omar froze. The scars of time were deep, but he knew those eyes. It was Malik, the man who had destroyed his childhood, the man who had thrown him into the storm. Malik looked up and saw Omar staring at him. Slowly, recognition dawned on Malik's face. He gasped, dropping the cup. He looked around at the beautiful house, the happy people, and then at the noble man standing before him, the boy he had called dust. Malik tried to stand, to run, but his legs failed him. He buried his face in his hands and began to weep, loud, ugly sobs of a broken soul. "Do it," Malik choked out. "Beat me. I deserve it. I am the devil who took your home. I am the wretch who left you to die." The guests went silent, watching. Omar stood for a moment, the memories of the cold rain rushing back. He felt the anger rise, but then he looked at his mother, sitting nearby, nodding gently. Omar took a deep breath. He knelt down beside Malik and placed a hand on his shaking shoulder. "I will not throw you out, Malik," Omar said, his voice firm but soft. "The storm you sent me into 20 years ago, it guided me to this path. You took my house of mud, and because of that, Allah gave me this house of peace. If I take revenge today, I am no better than you were yesterday." Omar signaled his servants, "Prepare a warm bath for our guest, and bring him new clothes. He will stay with us tonight." Malik looked at Omar in disbelief, tears washing the grime from his cheeks. "Why?" he whispered. "How can you forgive me?" Omar smiled, a smile that lit up the night. "Because true wealth is not what you keep in your pocket, but what you keep in your heart." From that day on, Malik became the servant of that household, not because he was forced, but because he wanted to serve the man who had shown him the face of mercy. And so the scales of justice were balanced, not with a sword, but with a slice of bread given in love. If this story touched your heart, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to turn on notifications. We share new, inspiring moral stories every day. Thank you for watching, and may your life be filled with blessings.